Hey guys, Dr. Amina Ali. We are here again. We are at our fifth installment of the He for She event for the Commission on the Status of Women 66, the male advocacy in gender and human rights for women. And this is a division of the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. And I am founder and executive director of this elaborate community service organization, and SIO, which is a social impact organization that is allowing for the solutions for gender and human rights violations. I want to welcome you today. I am excited to be here. We are going to be talking to three powerhouses in this respect. We have someone from the governmental side. We have someone from the NGO and the CSO side. And then we have a brother that's new to me, but from what I'm reading, he is developing a great reputation in the art of service work for this mission. And I'm going to introduce all three of them today in a respective order. But first, we're going to get into why are we here today? What is the purpose? What is the He for She campaign? Started with UN Women, Gender, the Gender Equality Solidarity Movement. We have been developing this for a few years now, and this year we are launching He for She campaign, where we use the male voice to usher in and solidify solutions for human and gender rights. And it's only great that we do so because the male voice is a powerful entity. So many people ask me when I do this work, I only work around women, and for some reason, it seems as though it gives me a personal bias in the work that we do. But so many have come to me and asked me, Dr. Amina, you work with women, you work for women, by women, and you're a woman. Where does the male voice come into this? And I always tell them, the male voice has already been there. It never left. We just need to empower the men to understand the advocacy for women is a great way to blend this solidarity, the goodness, and the peace and solutions for years to come. If we are in a male-dominated society and we are one to take that inference into the next generation, then let's use that voice to show the solidarity that's needed to empower women, to motivate the cause, and to bring equitable solutions to our children and grandchildren. So today, we are going to be celebrating three men hosted by Ambassador Muhammad Yunus Musa, who is a FIGHR fellow and is somebody that is very conscientious in working with the women in the north of Nigeria. And he is representative of Kano, of Gombe State, and of course of Kaduna State. And he is using this inference and influence to be able to better shape a program and plan for the future to come. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is trying to match solutions with the needs of the people to dynamically open up this vestiture. So without further ado, we're going to open up as we should in prayer. And we have Dr. Vasima Williams of the Love Faith Assembly that's going to be coming through. She is going to be opening us up in prayer, and we're going to continue properly. Dr. Williams, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Dr. Ali. Good morning to everyone here. I welcome everyone in. Please excuse the background noise as I am in transit, but I could not miss this wonderful, amazing event as I have not missed one yet.
Yes, that's right.
So, to the great Almighty, we petition your presence today. We desire to be present. We desire to be humble. And we desire to hear and to understand in a way that only you can filter. Let us hear through our spirits and let us speak through our hearts so that something may resonate with us, to take with us, to help someone, to serve someone, to be there for someone going forward and to do your work. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Aho, Ashe, and so it is. Selah. We welcome you and we thank you so very much for that, Dr. Williams. As we move forward in the understanding of what we need to do, let's talk about what FIGHR is, since we are the collaborative host for this main event in the United Nations. For the CSW 66 this year, we are going to be hosting a collaborative number of events. And all of them in March are going to be our He for She movement. And we're also going to be giving a great valiant energy to men this month. Now, does that mean that we're taking away the voice of women? Absolutely not. What we're doing is we're doing individual programs such as this. We have main and side events that resonate what it is that the men are to bring. And this main event today is going to be one that is going to be recorded for those that are wanting to get the greatness of what we have, what we need, and what we're going to be looking for moving forward in the action-orientated side of all of this. A lot of times we come and we give great face, if you will, and we say we're going to do this and this organization is going to do that. But a lot of times we don't resonate what it means to actually be an action entity. And one of the things the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights is we are a social impact organization. Social, meaning for the community. Impact, meaning we are finding solutions and we're working in the adjectives of bringing those solutions into verbs so that others can be helped in the long run. And then we are an organization, which means we combine talents, gifts, abilities. We combine mission, purpose, and planning, and give the ordinance together with those that are working with us in collaboration. So in knowing so, today's focus in all of that is rural men and the access to solutions of the traditional mind. So today we're going to be talking to those that are very familiar with this traditionalist mentality. This is one that is going to represent a great hiccup, if you will, in our moving forward. As you know, traditionalist society has this thing where they've done it back then and they feel as though it's still good to do it now. And they want to promote it in some way moving forward. And we have come forward to say that it really was broken back then. It doesn't work right now. And we really don't want to carry it anymore. But how do we transition that mind? How do we get grandparents and great-grandparents who have done things a certain way, whether it be traditionally, culturally, religiously, how do we get them to change their mind to the point where it's more inclusive, more equitable, more in the direction of what it is that we need versus what it is they just want to do because it's easy and it's complicit. We need to understand that this is a message that we got to bring across gender lines, across racial lines and ethnic boundaries. We have to bring it into the forefront so that we know human and gender rights are a solutionable project that we can all do. This is something intentional. And these three men today are going to talk about what tradition was. They have 3 questions that they're going to be posed. And then there's a 4th one that's going to be given to all of them. And they're going to panel it by answering those questions. And then they're going to give their gems, their takeaways at the end. And they're going to answer these questions with the efficacy of knowing that solutions are here and that we can challenge them in making sure that our children see it and the effects of it is felt worldwide. So I want to thank you all for coming. I'm going to recognize a few dignitaries in the midst of us and those of us that will be carrying this mission on a more diplomatic and more official capacity. We have Her Excellency, Dr. Ghazalia Khan, who is a diplomatic ambassador for the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. She is the mission ambassador for the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. She is here today with us. She also is a phenomenal mind dynamic practitioner. She just had a course, 5 minutes, the last program, and she led a fabulous meditation that just had me able to be still. So I want to thank her for coming. We have His Excellency Ambassador Andrew Ramjohn, who is the mission ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago and the CARICOM for the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. He is here. Of course, he's going to give words of wisdom at the end. And he's also going to give us a takeaway as one of our senior representatives in the organization. We have Emissary Kareem Daniel Rice from Trinidad. He's also here with us. We have Dr. Mohammed Garba, who is here. He is also from Kano State. He is also a heavy hitter in solidarity and in engineering in Dubai. He is also someone that has come across as our engineer for our programs that we're going to be opening, our schools, our maternal care centers, and of course, our programming for the North and re-educating and reprogramming those. And we have other dignitaries from Trinidad and Tobago that are here. We have Pastor Dr. Basima Williams here. And of course, we are having, we have our, oddly enough, I'm so glad to see this. We have our ambassador. I'm so glad she came on. She is actually one of our ambassadors from the Seychelles. She is a United Nations ambassador. We have Rukaya Sani, who is here. Assalamu alaikum. And we are bringing on Madam Magdalene Idiang. She's here also. And I want to also welcome the three panelists that are here today. I will read their names and their bios in order, and we will begin the program now. Our first panelist, who is also our host for today, who is hosting us from Kano State. He is an ambassador in his own right. He deals with education and the reformation of education in Kano State in North Nigeria. He works with the solutions that are going to be bringing back proper education, religious instruction, as well as the demographic of proper residents, food, garnishing food deserts, and bringing in water sanitation programs to that area as well. His name is Ambassador Mohammed Yunus Musa. He is our host for today, and we want to thank him for hosting this program today. He is also the one that has solicited the panelists for today in bringing the program forward. So thank you, Ambassador Mohammed. So we will bring him in first, and I will tell you a little bit about him. I've already worked with him in many, many events, to include the new, the North We Deserve, which is a Nigerian project that is going to bring education, information, and the greater resources to women, children, and those refugees that are there in the North. Ambassador Musa was born and raised in the ancient city of Kano State. He is a woman and child rights protection activist and a diplomatic fellow for the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights here in New York. He is a pro-democracy campaigner and frontline actor of the SDGs 4 and 5. And in Africa, he is an ambassador of World Literacy Foundation, a team lead and co-founder of Give North Education, member and World Youth Alliance, and also a member campaigner of the Amnesty International. Ambassador Mohammed is an internationally certified sexual and gender-based violence instructor, and also an internationally certified human rights advocate. He surely is, with multiple leadership certifications and awards both nationally and internationally. And he was born and raised in Northern Nigeria. Ambassador Musa, I want to welcome you, and I want to thank you so very much. As you unmute your mic, I want to ask you this question as you orate for us today. Your question is, please give your take on women's advocacy in rural spaces and tell what it has meant in your community. Thank you, Ambassador Yunus. You are welcome to, yes, you're unmuted. Okay, you may begin. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Excellency, for inviting me through this session of this program. I am delighted, honestly, to speak and host as well on this new CSW 66 series of the Federation of International Gender and the Human Rights. I have to apologize seriously because my network won't allow me to take up video because I'm very be able to access my video. I hope this apologies is accepted. Like you have mentioned, I'm a child rights protection activist and a diplomatic fellow of the Federation of International Gender and the Human Rights. And of course, what we do normally here in Nigeria is advocacy campaign against, gender disparity in learning, as well as women's sideline in affairs that has to do with them. What we do is to ensure that disparities in learning has been eliminated and all genders are included in activities that has to do with them. So I am glad to join you through this program, and I welcome each and every one of us through this session. Hello, can you hear me, please? Are you with me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Thank you so much. So, gender inequality is becoming a very threat, all over the world, and of course, Nigeria is not an exception. We are also experiencing a kind of discrimination due to gender inequalities, as well as fight to see how far these disparities can be eliminated. And the main topic of this question today is the CSW on the CSW 66 series on the Commission of Women and Advocacy for Rural Women across the world. Of course, Nigeria as a country, we have our own personal problems, and the government also is playing their own part to see that how far these gender inequalities can be eliminated. And I am glad to be joined by one of the forerunners or one of the frontliners of this campaign, that is Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja. He is also an actor of SDGs, a person that believes in achieving career relevance as well as involving all genders in activities that has to do with them. So rural agenda, women advocacy in rural areas is, having its own problems like everywhere, like I said, in the whole world. Here in Nigeria, the women are sidelined due to the fact that there is lack of advocacy campaign. People do pull their arms and all wait for the government to provide everything, and this is not exactly how it's supposed to. In our own part, we see it as a collective task to come up with an initiative that will involve women in activities that has to do with them to, eliminate gender disparities and bring women into the front line to be involved in everything that men are proud of being involved. So the advocacy for rural women is becoming like a subject that we really need at this moment. But I would like to also speak on a very particular, instances that this our campaign is running on. Hello, cut my network.
We can hear you, Your Excellency. We can still hear you. Your Excellency, we can still hear you. Okay, so we are going to move forward. We have our second panelist, and I'm going to read a little bit about it. And if the ambassador comes back, then we will bring him in after the second panelist. Our second panelist is our governmental entity. He is Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadija. He was born in 1965 and he attended Sacred Heart Primary School in Kaduna. And he also enrolled in the School of Basic Studies at Ahmadu Bello University. He graduated with a law degree in 1986 and went on to Nigerian Law School, Lagos, for his BL qualification. He completed his National Youth Service Corps program in Lagos and is a distinguished senator who worked for a year with the Credit and Finance International Finance House as the in-house counsel and company secretary. He was appointed the deputy governor just before the elections in 2003, and he ran in that capacity with Governor Saminu, Taraki on the ANPP ticket for a few months, and later where he continued in that position until the end of the joint tenure in 2007. In 2014, he was involved in the formation of All People's Congress, which is APC, as the Jigawa state leader of the ANPP, and one of these three parties that allied and subsequently ran as deputy governor of Jigawa state. I am impressed with his resume. I could read more, but one of the things that I do see is that his passion is for the male voice to be an advocacy in what it is that we are doing today. And that's all that I come with integrity with. He is someone that is far beyond an understanding in what he has done and how he has brought the political voice into sexual and gender-based violence, into the regulatory policy for women, and bettering foreign policy for women dealing with injustices. So without further ado, Senator Ibrahim, I welcome you to the floor. And as you unmute your mic, I have a question for you today. And your question is, what should men be doing to start the conversation around gender equality for rural women? If you would, thank you so very much. Senator, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amina. It's a pleasure to be part of this conversation. I got an invitation almost, I think, over a month ago, really. And I've been toying with this question since I got it. Because it's, you have to look at it from the context of the local experience and the local environment. And I can only talk authoritatively, really, from my experience having served as a public figure in a rural setting. So I'm going to answer this question within that context. First of all, I think from a rural perspective, women are doing very well as it is, without necessarily creating an avenue for men to join in the reorientation. And I draw this conclusion from several programs that we participated in, and this backed up by statistics, by results we have seen. It's very, very obvious that given the chance, women probably do better at a lot of things in the rural setting than men. And what we have seen over time is that, even traditionally male, activities like agriculture, especially in the north. In the southern part of the country, women do participate in agriculture. They get their hands dirty, but it's not very much normal in the northern society for obvious reasons. But what we have seen, at least for me, in the last 10, 12 years, is a situation where a lot of agricultural programs are actually targeting women. And yes, you have women exclusive credit schemes. You have association of purely women farmers, and not just women who are farming a portion of their husband's farm, but women who actually own farms. And what we have seen intervening and helping out these women-based organizations or associations is the fact that the productivity, the repayment rate, everything is sometimes 2-3 times what you find happening in corresponding activities with their male counterparts. And I think what that has done is try to now focus government intervention to also look at women exclusive activities. I'll give you an example, several examples. The state government recently undertook a program to identify women, literally girls living in rural areas that are doing well academically, and then sponsor them even outside the country for specific professions like nursing and medicine. We probably have about 120 girls out there studying medicine, about 60 in China. The last batch went to Sudan. And they're being given training with a commitment for them to come back to their rural areas, which are called hard to reach areas. These are real deep rural areas where they have a commitment, a bond to come back and serve in those areas for a minimum amount of time, maybe 2-3 years as doctors, as nurses, to help improve the health, because we have a situation where you find that there's a very large the doctor-patient ratio. That's even worse when you go to one to serve. So you have these, what you have the hospitals there, but nobody wants to stay. So this is like more or less ensure that these girls go out, come back, the doctor or nurse or maternity ward attendant for 2-3 years. Second area I've seen, and I'm saying this because my question, talks about, reorienting or retraining women to fit into a workforce. And then I presume that we're talking about a workforce maybe in an urban area or a workforce in a formal area. And I see a situation where these women can create their own workforce. There's a lot of opportunities in the rural areas. Nigeria is undergoing a revolution. We're transitioning to a digital economy. E-commerce is booming, and the digital divide is wide. So if I have a say, we've seen situations where if you provide digital literacy to women, they absolutely are rushing to fill in these gaps. Again, if you provide financial literacy, I have another example. We had a school feeding program run by the federal government where primary schools were given free lunches, and these lunches were prepared by rural women from the areas. We probably had about 8,000 to 9,000 in Jigawa State. What that entailed is that these women are employed by the federal government to cook these meals. And because of the nature of the payment, they were supposed to provide a bank account number. And we had a problem because, in the rural areas, banking is absolutely unknown. The financial exclusion is very wide, and especially as affects women. And we have less than 3% of these women that actually know anything like a bank account, even less have access to credit. So we now had a situation where we had to literally bus these women out from the rural areas to the larger towns where there were banks, opened accounts for them, and then send them back. And then they started receiving payments for these accounts. And because there was no financial literacy, a lot of them actually handed over the ATM cards that they had to their husbands or their children. And we had issues where they never saw this money. So because of that, I personally, because of that problem, I'm embarking on a program this year as part of a consortium project to provide a 6-month-long radio program on financial literacy and bookkeeping, directly targeted at rural women. Because what we have seen is that when we intervene and actually got them to understand that this was their bank account, and the money came in, we tied their phone numbers to the credit alert system, they started doing very well. They're not doing enough for them to use some of those profits to support the family and open a small business. We had another program called the Child Development Grant. This was run with Action Against Hunger. It's like a pilot in 3 local governments. Pregnant women were given a stipend of, I think, 5,000 naira, which is not much per month. And you get this as soon as you're confirmed pregnant, and this runs on through the term till the child, I think it's about 1,000 days. And this was meant to help with nutrition. It was helped to ensure that both the mother and child, at least had some, nutritious meals. But, it went a step further. What the MIE found out was that apart from providing food, these women could actually save enough from this little amount to start off a business, selling stuff, knitting and so on and so forth. And like I said, the basic issue was that because they didn't have bookkeeping skills, you ended up, taking not just the profit from the small business, but actually the capital. And so this is very, very important. I'm sure there's a story that went viral in Jigawa State about a federal government program that gave out, I think, 5,000 naira a month. It's called a conditional cash transfer, and poverty index was taken, and the rural women were given this 5,000. And in a particular community that had a problem because the nearest hospital was about 31 kilometers away. These women got themselves together, formed an association, and 420 of them contributed, I think, 1,000 naira each over a couple of months and bought an ambulance. They bought a car, a van, and converted it into an ambulance so that it could take pregnant women to antenatal clinics, and it went viral. It was incredible. I mean, these were people that were not waiting for government to come in, and do that for them. Rural, uneducated women, had the inspiration to sit down and do something like this. You know, these are the kind of things that inspire governments to focus on women. You know, a politician wants to succeed. A politician wants to show a success story. And if you spend several billion naira supporting male farmers or farmer associations, and you are getting a return of 30, 40%, and you have a pilot scheme with women getting 98%, you know, there's a good chance that you're going to start diverting money to women-centric activities. So like I said, you know, I think we're experiencing an e-commerce revolution in Nigeria. I think if you combine the agricultural opportunities in the rural areas with technology, you're going to find that you're going to keep these women employed, you're going to keep them in business, and you're going to keep them doing the right thing for a long time to come. So that's my take on that. You know, I think you know, the results speak for themselves, and I don't think we really need to step in and do anything special.
Nice. I thank you. Oh wow, I thank you so very much for that, because that last part about buying the car and turning into an ambulance, you know, how much money do I need to send into that? You know, just the thought of knowing that things like that are happening. I mean, you just want to support. You want to support. You want to keep it going. You want to have, even if you just pay enough money to keep the car running, you know, gas and maintenance, you know, that type thing. That to me says that this is what we need. Not necessarily, and I apologize. I didn't want to infer that there was a need for change. We just wanted to see what was happening in the transition from what we knew to be, you know, the oppressive mindset to what it is, and to know that it's already evolving is the better step in the right direction, no matter what question you ask. And to know that these programs exist, it even clearly lets me know that we just need to get in and better support. So I want to thank you, Senator Ibrahim, and I want to also thank you for that insight, because you helped me to learn something today, and I was taking notes, as you saw, and I wanted to make sure that there was a greater need for us to continue these programs and then be able to repeat them in other areas. So if you're doing that in Kano, let's repeat that in Kaduna or Bauchi, or maybe go over, you know, over east and go to Kebbi, you know, and keep this going so that we know that everyone is going to help. So thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time, and I thank you for being here today. I'd like to recognize a few more, thank you, sir, a few more dignitaries that have come in. We have His Excellency Mohammed Fawad Junaidi, and he has come in today. Thank you, Your Excellency, for coming in. We have Dr. Chisala Bwala, who is the ambassador for Zambia. Your Excellency, I thank you for coming. Dr. Chibundu, who's a board certified psychologist, and he's also one that's working very diligently in mental health matters post-pandemic. He's Dr. Chibundu. And he is here today. We also have Dr. Nafisa Zaki, who is from Nigeria. She is here. Thank you, Your Excellency, for coming. And Her Excellency, Lady Patience Wabasi. She is also one that is working with real estate in building homes for those that are in need of space, especially those that are IDPs and displaced persons that are in need. We also have Honorable Nora Issa Musa. She is here today, and we want to thank her also for coming. And we really, really appreciate you all for joining in. We are live streaming, and we are on. We are also in. Is it on SoundCloud? And then we're also going to be recording this. So those of you that are interested in it, I will offer the replay, or you can go to Ambassador Mohammed Yunus Musa, who will also have the replay afterwards. Speaking of that, the ambassador has returned. Ambassador, if you can finish up on your speech, you're more than welcome. Your mic is open. Please continue, and then we'll go to our final panelists for the day. Thank you so very much. Ambassador Mohammed, are you here?
Hear me, please.
Yes.
So apologies, please. I'm in the northeastern part of the country, and the network is very, very poor at the moment. It might not allow me to continue with what I'm doing, but at least I'm dropping some of what I supposed to say on the chat box. So in case of the network failure, you can check through it, see what I am about to say.
Very smart. Thank you so very much, Ambassador. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So what I was saying, I was talking about, hello.
I think you're muted. I think that's the problem. I think your system went on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, sir. Up, I think it went on mute again. For those, as we wait for his system, for those of you that were interested in, I got a few messages from you asking me, can we hear more from the ambassador? And I responded yes. But I wanted to draw your attention to the chat box. If you look on there, he has actually written out pretty extensively. He talked about the Beijing conference and the Vienna Declaration. So these are ones that are substantive information that will be bringing forth more policy, more procedure, and having that foreign policy be structured for a social development. So I want to thank you so very much, Ambassador. We'll try to get you connected. But our last and final panelist for the day is someone, as I mentioned, who is new to me, but not new to the work. And I'm going to read a bit of his bio and then bring him on as he unmutes his mic. We have with us Mr. Ilasu Rabiu Ishak. He is currently a business development manager with Cropple Tea Nigeria Limited, and he has opened the lines of communication between clients, customers, and businesses to get the jobs done. He has a proven track record in agribusiness, enterprise development management and consultation, strategic implementation, community and stakeholder engagement, as well as company collaboration. He has managed projects in Capture Solutions West Africa, Harun Sons International Limited, and I think it's Sakwa Africa Association, as well as numerous other projects with the Central Bank of Nigeria and Commodities Association. He, in 2017, founded a company, Salzium Green Limited, to support smallholder farmers through innovative approach and knowledge transfer aimed at enhancing the livelihood of smallholders in the underserved farmers, especially rural women. We cannot say anything but thank you, sir. Just bringing the opportunity for women to be their own business women is where I just tip my gele to you. And thank you so very much. And as you unmute your mic, Your Excellency, can you please answer this question? Give what programming, re-education, or corporate training that is needed to welcome more women into the new norms in society for rural women and girls. Give us some insights to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. I'm very thrilled and excited to be here with us. Thanks to Ambassador Ahmed for hosting us there. For me, I think when we talk about gender equity and gender equality, the first thing is to decolonize the minds of our people, especially rural women, to at least accept, to at least acknowledge that when we talk about engaging in the workforce, the first thing to come in our minds is competence, not being gender biased. I mean, I think there is a need for government to provide good policies that will encourage women's and girl participation in the corporate environment. Well, there are things that that has become obvious in rural communities. The issue of insecurity, the issue of when I say insecurity, I mean social insecurity. Women felt they will be very much insecure around a male-dominated environment, as we see in our workforce. Currently, the male dominancy in our workforce is about 70 to 80%. making women feeling very much insecure. So there is need for government to bring in good policies that will protect women and girls in the workforce. That is why I'm glad to have Senator Ibrahim here with us. I mean, as a Nigerian, as a member of Nigerian parliamentary, I think he can champion, I mean, sponsoring some of this bill that will aim at protecting women and girls. Also, there is need for reorientation of our people, for men to kind of accept working with women, to know that it's not about gender, it's not about being a man or a woman, it's about what value can you add, what impact can you bring. I think with this, it can enhance and promote participation of women and girls in the workforce. Just like Senator Ahmed mentioned in his remarks of women being engaged in agribusinesses, with government providing special intervention and programs supporting women in agribusiness. Well, I mean, for a very long time, women have been segregated even in the agribusiness space, with them being engaged only in minor activities or jobs. If you take, for example, a farmland, you will find out that majority of those farmlands are being owned by men, are being cultivated by men, are being managed by men. The little women are doing there has to do with petty job, especially when it comes to harvesting and packaging of the produce. So I think there is need for government and private sector to pay attention to supporting women businesses, supporting women in terms of enhancing their capacity, enhancing their capacity with targeted trainings that will aim at enhancing the capacity of these rural women. They stand a chance to compete in the corporate environment. Also, there is need for men to acknowledge that the fact that what really matters in work environment is what value one can bring on the table. And intelligence, competence has nothing to do with gender. It basically on background, basically on education, basically on the professional life. I think we need to encourage women to go to school, and I will use the opportunity to commend the distinguished senator with the initiative of taking our girls back to school. So we need to empower women to acquire knowledge. With that, they can be able to, they can be able to create impact in the environment, engage in the workforce, provide value, So apart from orientation, there is need for us to enhance rural women in terms of product and service training, technical skills development. Like the senator have mentioned, I think there is huge opportunity in the digital space, so we can begin to train our rural women on soft skill like the digital skills. I think with this, they stand a chance to compete in the corporate environment. So part of the re-education and programming that need to be put in place has to do with first, the policy, government to provide a good policy that would protect women, especially in area of social insecurity. Also, government and private sector to invest in women education, because only with education one can be able to create impact in the environment. I think with the right education, rural women, tend to, of course, provide value and create or drive economic development. We have seen awesome women doing awesome things, especially in the digital space, bringing in solutions, sustainable solutions affecting, affecting our environment. And one important thing we should pay attention to, as they say, charity begins at home. I think if we are talking about programming, it should start at home, because the settings in the rural homes, inculcate in the minds of women that there are certain things that is basically for men. Likewise, even in the minds of men, it's been inculcated that there are certain things that have just been for women. Let me give you an instance. For instance, in our normal settings, in normal rural settings, the boys in the house doesn't know, how to do, even simple house chores, doesn't take care of their rooms, doesn't put the house in order. Why? Because they have been brought up to believe that those things are specifically for girls, which is not really the case. Likewise, other activities that are being dominated by men. Rural women have been brought up to believe that those activities are meant only for women. So there is need for strong advocacy. There is need for strong capacity building training. Provide education to rural women. As it is today in Nigeria, more than 70% of rural women population are out of school. They don't have access to education. They rely solely on I would say spiritual institutions, making them left behind in acquiring the needed skill to compete in the corporate world. So I think it will still go back to issue of competency in empowering our women to develop on their competency, to develop on their skills, in order to give them room to compete with men in the corporate environment. Thank you. You're muted. You have been muted.
Uh-oh. Okay, sorry. I want to thank you so very much. I was saying that I've taken many notes, and I'm going to be using a lot of this to be able to support and repeat some of the programs that you talked about, especially those that was brought up by Senator Ibrahim, because there are some programs that we do need to support. Just get behind them. We don't need to recreate the wheel. And a lot of things that you're saying are programs that are already on the ground, but they're done in different capacities. So maybe instead of taking it from agriculture to IT, we can now take it back over to law or to medicine or to education and be able to incorporate the core pieces of what you said into other demographics so that other women will be helped. So I thank you so very much for that. And I thank you again for your time. I have one more question that I'm going to just pose to the three of you, and whomever wants to answer can. We're going to do this. I call it the lightning round because you only have about 2 minutes to answer. And then we have a word from one of our senior ambassadors who's going to close us out for today. So the final question of today is going to be: give in accountability what men should communicate and commit to in empowering women. Whomever wants to answer that, what are you going to commit to and communicate through in empowering women? Either one of you can answer.
If I am to go first, I think I will start to respond by saying, I think education first. With the right education, if men can commit to providing women with right education, I think that will be an awesome step to start with. Also, acknowledging and recognizing their potential in their own way. We must acknowledge, their respective potentials, as well as, give them ability to demonstrate what they can be able to. Because in most cases, women doesn't give it, in most cases, women are not being given chance to even, demonstrate what they can be able to demonstrate what they can be able to, to offer. So for me, I will say we must commit to educating women. We must commit to enhancing women's capacity, and we must commit to creating an enabling environment for women to compete in the corporate environment. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I thank you. Thank you very much. That piece is really key. Education is definitely a mindset that we have to change and gain access to. Ambassador Ibrahim, Senator Ibrahim, do you have any closing words? Is he still with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, there he is. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. Yes, unfortunately, my answer is exactly the same as the last speaker. I mean, you just can't run away from education. When you look at the horrible figures being spewed out about out-of-school children in northern Nigeria, what more people don't do is dig behind the numbers and find out what percentage of that is women. You'd be even more shocked. And then, of course, you have the drop-off from primary school to the junior secondary schools. You have a lot of primary schools around, so girls have access to primary schools, but the secondary schools are few and far within. So you have a situation where close to 47 to 50% of girls drop out from the primary school to the junior secondary school, primarily because of distance. I mean, they can't walk 5, 6, 10 kilometers to go to school. So the parents end up pulling them out to get married or hawk. That's why we came up with a program that the last speaker was referring, a Right to School program, where we identified girls that were walking up to 12 kilometers. That's about 8 miles daily, one way. And we provided bicycles for them. Right now, we're close to 1,200 bicycles. We're getting another batch of 300 to ensure that these girls ride to school. And we're going to monitor that to see the impact it has on the drop-off. And of course, apart from formal education, what I'd also like to see is provide girls with access to digital literacy skills. You don't have to go to school. I mean, if you have the facilities for them to actually go online, there's an absolute whole lot of educational tools out there that girls can take advantage of, learn skills, sell stuff, join the e-commerce revolution, fill in the gaps in the logistics, supply, the delivery, and so on and so forth. I think that's the right start. Education is key. I mean, that's the foundation. And if you don't have that foundation, there's very, very little you can do to actually improve the well-being of the girl child.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you. That is awesome. And if we can get Ambassador Mohammed to get in and close us out, the next voice we will hear will be Ambassador Andrew Ramjohn from Trinidad and Tobago to close us on our final word, and then Dr. Williams to pray us out. So Ambassador Mohammed, if you can answer that question, if you would. Given accountability, what men should communicate and commit to in empowering women.
Yeah, well, my response is the same as the response they give, because I think education, what we need at the moment to make reforms on gender inequalities. And again, the most important aspect to also look at after education is how to review our cultural practices. You see, generally in Africa, what determines this gender inequality is the issue of these cultural practices. I think legislative action should be made on these, cultural practices in order to enable women be involved in activities that has to do with their own lives. So this is my response. I apologize seriously for my network failure. I think
No worries, no worries, Ambassador. No, we're more pleased that you were able to still reconnect. I love the tenacity and that passion. Thank you so very much. We have a question here, well, actually a comment from Dr. Muhammad Garba, well respected in Kano State. He says, my contribution to this male advocacy is more like making the change from amongst ourselves. Competence is the key mention, and therefore we should try and make it our responsibility to empower women, our wives, sisters, women within our community with all the needed capacity to compete and contribute favorably among men and increase women's participation. I couldn't say it better. If we just support what's already there, we don't have to recreate the wheel. And like Senator said, it's always best that we do it with intention and do it with deliberateness. So I know that whatever it is that we do will be successful because we are doing things and supporting. He's given the card to the ambulance. That's still going to stick in my mind. And now he's given bicycles to women that are traveling to go to school and go to work. And that is just a support. We're not changing or fixing anything. We're just allowing it to be supported. So thank you so very much. Madam Wabasi says men should start from the homes to encourage their daughters and wives to study courses that seems to be male dominated and make them realize that competence is the key and not gender. Thank you so very much, Madam. And Madam, I really appreciate that coming from you. You hold a very, very strong support in actually building homes that these women are in charge of and command. So knowing that the voice coming from that resilience is very, very much appreciated. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming, all the head dignitaries that have graced us today, those that are on live stream. We have about 30 plus here. We have about 50 on the live stream. You guys really turned out today. I want to thank you. We have 2 more events. We have one on Saturday, the 26th, and we have another one on the 30th. Again, look on LinkedIn for the events to come up. And please support us. We have 7 events for the month of March. The He for She events. They are main events in the CSW. This one is the last one for the actual CSW, but we are going to have side events that'll be on Saturday and on the 30th of this month. So please join us. Ambassador Andrew Ramjohn, can you please close us out with comments from the CARICOM as representation? And then Dr. Williams, can you please pray us out? Thank you so very much.
Thank you kindly. Good day to all and good evening, whatever your location may be. I apologize if I sound kind of strange. I picked up a bit of a flu yesterday. Sneezy, runny nose, watery eyes, you know, that sort of thing. But I'm dealing with it.
Yeah,
thank you.
He'll soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say categorically, I agree with what Senator Ibrahim and Mr. Ishak stated, especially about education. That is one of my key words in this whole thing, education. So in closing off, I would like to say, with this whole topic, if we're going to look at how to beat gender stereotypes, I believe it is by education or learning, speaking up, and reacting. And I just want to expand on that just very quickly because we are limited with time, because I believe the ball is in each and every one of our courts. Raising awareness of these challenges alone is insufficient. To change mindsets, women should do 3 things, my humble opinion. 1, learn. As we know, knowledge is power. So I'll give a quick example. If any one of our sisters has ever been to the repair shop in a garage, something's wrong with the car. They may have been ripped off, all right? And if in the affirmative, I did a probe paper and it found that the auto repair outlets alter their values and their quotations, betting on however informed the callers seem to be concerning the costs. Once a caller signaled that they had no plan concerning what the repair ought to cost, ladies were quoted a greater value than men, all right? So these gender variations quickly disappeared once a benchmark cost was indicated. I don't know if you've heard of the hashtag Shecanics instead of mechanics. Hashtag Shecanics. Yes, I researched that. And this is a very powerful movement and a very powerful example of empowering women through awareness, education, and support. My second point on speaking up, I believe that women should move with confidence into a male-dominated area. Let's be honest, stereotypes won't disappear unless folks perceive they're harmful. Ladies in male-dominated environments will facilitate raised awareness. Yeah, I look, and we all know, I look at role models, and they're playing a role in promoting gender equality and fighting gender stereotypes. When we think about people like Billie Jean King in sports, when we think about people like Sheryl Sandberg and her Lean initiative, and therefore the hashtag Ban Bossy campaign. I don't know if you've heard about that one. Yeah. So even advertisers, Excellency, even advertisers are stepping into this area, and they are commencing to actively address women. The example, the Gillette ad, the best men will be. Well, women use razor blades too. Yeah. So we also have Serena Williams, our tennis table, or table tennis, or our lawn tennis professional, and her Bumble commercial, right? My third point on the reaction, very quickly on reaction, I want to close off with this. Women ought to anticipate and prepare to react on inappropriate or discriminating comments. Now, I want to emphasize, this doesn't mean violently. This does not mean obscenely. For example, and I'll give just one example. Time will only permit me to give one example. One example of this was a Yankee celebrity, Lauren Reiter. She was asked on radio, what is your favorite position? This was meant to be a sexist question. What is your position? She thought for it briefly, and her very wonderful reply was to become a CEO. And she didn't give it any thought, right? And I want to leave it at that. I make no apologies. I stand for the woman. I stand for equality. End of story. Thank you so much, Excellency.
That was a powerful way to end this. Thank you so very much. And we will have that recorded in efficacy to know that this is the voice of men, and this is the power of this event. So thank you so very much, Your Excellency. Thank you so very much for that. And I'm glad it was recorded, because now we can go back and we can get that. I know that Shecanics, I'm definitely gonna ride that one. And I love that. I love those hashtags that we're gonna be doing. And that thought about the razor blades, you're right, because we do use razor blades. So thank you so very much. I really appreciate you, and always a pleasure to have you. Okay, Dr. Williams, we are going to ask that you close us out and help us to understand the power of prayer a little bit deeper by closing us out, knowing that we are protected, we're guided, and we are here to be servants to each other. Thank you, Dr. Williams. Uh-oh. Did we lose her? Dr. Bassman? Okay, well, I will use one of the prayers that I will be using for this weekend. There is an event that I'm being asked to speak, and I'm being asked to speak on the power of prayer in what it is that we have. And I have a prayer that I may want to use on you, just as my template to see. It is a universal prayer, so it's non-denominational, non-religious. It is more of a spiritual concept, but it is one to allow us to understand the divine that we serve. And it says, in the only moment we have, let us focus on the right now moment. Let us take a few seconds to meditate on the current conditions of the world, to open thought solutions, and answers to what causes us to question what is happening. Almighty, the pain is real, but the suffering is optional. So let us focus our time in the right now to bridge between the questions of the unknown and the source within us. The answers are there, and they are a human reminder of kindness that we have for ourselves and for each other. And for this, I say, in my tradition, Amen. I want to thank you all so very much for coming. I equally want to thank you for being the greatest aspect of what it is that we can have, which is a togetherness. And for all of us here at the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, our support, our partners. And I have to recognize a dignitary that just came on. Thank you so much. Wissam Dodar, I'm so sorry. He came on to support us kind of last minute after his program is done. I want to thank you for the intention of joining us. And I want to salute you all and thank you for a very, very powerful event. Until next time, we'll speak soon. Be well.